Hello, Cleveland scholars and families. My name is Miss Gagliardi. I am a teacher of the deaf at Wilson School. This wonderful woman next to me is Miss Kohler. She is an interpreter for deaf students also at Wilson School. Before we start, I just want to let you know what an interpreter is. That might be a word that you haven't heard before. An interpreter is someone in the classroom that listens to what a hearing person is saying, either a teacher or a student, and then they translate those words into sign language, so that way deaf students can also understand what's happening in the classroom or in conversations that happen throughout the day. So at Wilson, we host the deaf program for Cleveland. So today we are going to teach you a couple signs of different things that you might see around your house, and hope that you can learn a little bit of ASL with us. So you will see 3 pictures come up on your screen. I'm going to show you a sign for one of those pictures, and I want you to guess which sign or which picture matches that sign. Are you ready? All right, our first sign is which picture do you think matches that sign? Did you guess light? If you did, you were correct. This is the sign for light. You flick your chin. Are you ready for the next one? Do you see the 3 pictures? Here's your next sign. Which picture do you think matches that sign? Did you guess the chair? You were right if you did. This is the sign for chair. See how it kind of looks like 2 legs sitting on a chair? A lot of signs in sign language really look like the words that they depict. All right, you ready for the next one? Here's our 3rd sign. Which picture do you think matches that sign? Remember, it might look like the sign itself. Did you guess that this was table? If you did, you got it right. On to number 4. Are we ready? This one's a little different. What picture do you think matches this sign? Did you point to the picture with the kitchen? This is the sign for kitchen. We'll add a little bonus sign in there. This is the sign for cook, which is where the sign for kitchen comes from. This is a K in sign language. So that's the sign for kitchen. Are you ready for the next one? Which picture do you think matches this sign? Did you point to the picture with the microwave? That is the sign for microwave. It's supposed to represent the waves that are heating your food while it's in the microwave cooking. Are you ready for the next one? What picture matches this sign? I'll give you a hint. It's pretty stinky. That is the sign for garbage. And a fun fact, it's also the sign for lettuce, like the vegetable. So you can tell that might be a little confusing for deaf children. They have to kind of figure out which context we're using that word. Are we talking about lettuce? Are we talking about garbage? You ready for the next one? Which picture matches this sign? Did you point to the picture with all the food? This is the sign for food and the sign for eat. Looks like you're putting food to your mouth, right? Here's the next one. That should be an easy one. I hope that you pointed to the sign with the drink. This is the sign for drink. We ready for the next one? That's a hard one, unless you know the alphabet. This is the sign for T, and this is the sign for V. So this sign is TV, for the television. Did you get it right? Here's our next sign. Which picture do you think matches that sign? That should be another pretty easy one. Did you point to the picture with the bed? If you did, you were right. That's the sign for bed. Here's our next sign. That one's a little tricky. Did you point to the picture with the toys? This is the sign for toy. It comes from the sign for play. Then you use your T's, and that's the sign toy. Are you ready for the next one? This is one of my favorite things. Did you point to this picture with the book? It's another kind of easy one. It looks like you're reading a book. I hope you guys are reading lots of those during the school closure. We've got two more. Are you ready? Our next sign. Which picture do you think matches this sign? That was the sign for clothes. Did you point to the picture with all of the clothes? We've got one more. And I think this one you'll really be able to get. Are you ready? What's that the sign for? Did you point to the picture with the car? I hope you did. That was a sign for car. So as you can see, a lot of signs really make sense when you're watching sign language and realizing what words that they relate to in the English language. We hope that you enjoyed learning a few signs with us today, and that maybe you'll walk around your house today and practice all of the signs that you learned with us. We hope you're all safe and well, and that you enjoy your summer. We miss you.
Hi students, if you can't tell, I am in my kitchen because today I'm going to be baking my favorite chocolate chip cookies. So right here I have my recipe written out, but it is incomplete. So what I have to do is solve all of these fraction problems to get the correct amount for each ingredient to go inside my dough. So let's do those now. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is our flour, and it says to change 4/3 into a mixed number. Now we know 4/3 is an improper fraction because our numerator is bigger than our denominator. So we have to figure out how many times does 3 go into 4. So if we write out our multiples, it's 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, and so on. And we can see that 3 only goes into 4 one time because 6 is too high. So we're gonna write our big number 1 over here. Now, since we are only taking away 1, we're just gonna subtract away 3 from the 4, which equals 1, which will be our new numerator. And remember, we always keep the same denominator. So we need 1 1/3 cup of flour. Next, we're gonna do salt. So it's asking us to simplify 5/10. So since we know 5 is a prime number, we're only gonna be able to take out 5 and 1. So can we take 5 out of 10? Yes. So if we divide 5 by 5, which equals 1, and then 10 divided by 5 is 2, we're left with 1/2. The next thing we will do is our baking soda. So we have to subtract 9/4 from 10/4. So we have to start with our 10/4 because we are taking away 9/4 from it. Now, when we add or subtract our fractions, they have to have the same denominator, which in this case we already do. So we can just go straight across. 10 minus 9 is 1, and our denominator always stays the same when we add or subtract. So we need 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda. Okay, now we're gonna do our butter. So we are gonna add 1/4 and 3/12 together. So I have it written here, 1/4 plus 3/12. Now I just said for our baking soda, we have to have the same denominator when we are adding or subtracting our fractions. And as you can see, we do not have the same denominator here. So we have to find a common denominator. So you're gonna start by writing out your multiples. So I'll do that over here. We'll start with 4, 8, 12, 16, and then we'll do our 12s, which is 12, 24, 36, and as you can see, 12 is our lowest common number. So we now have to change 1/4 to have a denominator of 12. Well, if we know that 4 times 3 gets us 12, and we also know whatever you do to the bottom, you must do to the top, we have to do 1 times 3, which is 3. So 3/12 plus our original 3/12. Now we have the same denominator. 12 stays the same, our denominator stays the same. 3 plus 3 is 6. We are left with 6/12. So we are going to simplify 6/12, and we have to figure out what number can we take out of both 6 and 12. So you can take out 6. 6 divided by 6 is 1. 12 divided by 6 is 2. So we need 1/2 cup of butter. The next ingredient we are going to do is our sugar. We have to multiply 1/4 times 3. Now, whenever we have a whole number and we want to write it in fraction form, you simply just put it over 1. 3 over 1 times 1/4. And we can multiply straight across. 3 times 1 is 3. 4 times 1 is 4. 3/4 cup of sugar. The last ingredient that we have to solve for is our chocolate chips. We have to add 4/5 plus 7/10. Now again, we are adding, so you need to have a common denominator. If we write out our multiples, 5, 10, 15, 10, 20, 30. 10 is our lowest common number. So we are going to have to change our 4/5 to have a denominator of 10. Now, 5 times 2 gets us 10, so we have to do 4 times 2, which is 8. Now we can add our 7/10. 8 plus 7 is 15, and we keep our denominator the same when we're adding. We're left with 15 over 10. But we know this is an improper fraction. We cannot leave it there. We have to figure out how many times does 10 go into 15. Write out our multiples again, 10, 20, 30. We can clearly see it's only 1. So we're gonna write our big 1 here. Take away 10. We're left with 5/10. 5/10 simplified. We can take 5 out of the top and the bottom. We're left with 1/2. So 1.5 cup of chocolate chips.
Hi everyone, my name is Cassie Keller. I'm a 3rd grade teacher at Halley School in Cleveland, Ohio.
And I'm Mr. Keller, Mrs. Keller's husband.
Today we are coming to talk to you about food science. Mr. Keller, did you know that cooking can be considered a science?
I had no idea.
Well, it sure can. You see, food science is the study of the physical, biological, and chemical makeup of the food we eat. Yeah, today we're going to be using something called the scientific inquiry practice to see just how food and cooking can become science.
I can't wait for this.
I can't either.
Let's go.
Stay tuned. Okay, so first things first, I am going to have Mr. Keller blindfold himself because he cannot see what he is smelling in each of these experiments. There's 5 different items that he's going to be smelling, and he's going to have to use those aroma attributes to try to figure out which 2 would pair best for a tasty treat. Okay, Mr. Keller, so go ahead and put your blindfold on, please.
Can't wait.
Make sure it's secure, that you can't see anything. Can you see?
Can't see anything.
Nothing?
Nope.
Okay. All right, so the first item that I am going to give to you, and I will show the group, is this, which is this. Okay, so I'm gonna have you go ahead and take a few sniffs. It's right in front of you.
Okay.
Good. Okay, so now go ahead and, actually, let me remove this. Out of the way, no idea what it is. Okay, go ahead and take off your blindfold. I'm going to have you write down next to item 1 some attributes of that item. So what did it smell like? What does it remind you of? When you're finished, you can put the paper aside and then put your blindfold back on. Okay, so item number 2 coming up.
Okay.
Here is item number 2, which is, here we go. Go ahead and sniff.
Okay.
Okay, ready? Remove it. Okay, go ahead and take off your blindfold and write down some of the attributes of item number 2.
Okay.
Okay, blindfold back on. It's time for number 3. Item number 3, I'll show the audience. And here's what it is. Okay, here we go. Sniff away.
Woo. Okay, I got that one.
Okay, go ahead and write down what you think. Take your blindfold off. Write down a quick few things of what that reminded you of. Okay, item
Right.
number 4.
Bring it on.
To the end.
This is making me hungry.
Here's item number 4. Here is what the item is. Okay, Mr. Keller, there you go.
Mm. Okay, I got that one. Man, I really am hungry now.
Okay, go ahead and take off your blindfold. You can write down a few quick notes for item number 4.
Okay.
All right, blindfold on for the last item. Here is the last item. And this is what it is. Okay.
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 I really am hungry now.
Go ahead and jot down your notes for item number 5. Okay, Mr. Keller, now that the experiment is done, we are going to be using the scientific inquiry practice and application process to go over your results and to also determine if we have met our expectations for learning for this activity.
Sounds great.
Our expectations were to observe and ask questions that can be demonstrated through scientific investigation. Did we do that?
Sure did.
I think we did. We wanted to think critically and ask questions about the observations of others.
Okay.
And we wanted to develop and communicate descriptions and models with explanations and predictions.
Sounds awesome. Let's go.
So before we move on, what is your prediction for the outcome of this experiment?
I predict that I'm going to get a really good snack when this is all over.
So do you think that just by using your nose, you have no other senses to use, by using your nose, you are going to be able to pair up the 2 items that best complement each other?
I'm pretty sure I can pull this one off. After reviewing everything, I think I have my 2 winners.
Okay, so let's go over your attributes for your items. Okay, Mr. Keller, so what did you come up with for item 1?
Item 1, that one was really fresh. It was herby and reminded me of a garden and potentially a flavor or smell that I would have on a salad.
Okay, good. What about for item number 2?
Item 2 was one of my favorites. That one had a peanut smell and it reminded me of my favorite snack, a Reese's Cup.
Good. What about item 3?
Item 3 was interesting. It was tangy, had a little bit of spice. It reminded me of potentially something like that you would put on a hot dog.
Okay, very good. What about item number 4?
Ooh, item number 4, that one had a little bit of a fruit smell to it, and it reminded me of breakfast.
Good. And for item 5?
And item 5, that one had some fruit smell to it, and the fruit that was really coming out was a grape.
Okay, good. So based on these 5 items, can you come up with 2, just based off of aroma, that you would want to pair together?
Yeah, after a lot of thinking and looking back at my notes, I think it's going to be item number 2 and item number 5.
What do you think item number 2 was?
Item number 2, that was easy for me. As part of my favorite snack, it was peanut butter.
Okay, what about for item number 5?
I'm pretty sure item number 5 was grape, jelly, or jam.
Okay, let's go see our results. Okay, Mr. Keller, so let's look at the results. So item number 1 you described as fresh, herby garden, and item number 1 was ranch dressing. Good, so you were pretty spot on with that one. Item number 2 you described as peanut buttery smell, Reese's Cup, and that turned out to be
Peanut butter. I know the smell of peanut butter.
Item number 3 you described as tangy, spicy, and maybe something to put on a hot dog. Mustard.
Yep. I prefer the ballpark mustard myself.
Item number 4, fruity breakfast to milky. I threw this one in there to kind of throw you off because it was fruity just like jelly. I wanted to see if you could sniff out the difference. So item number 4 was yogurt.
Mm-hmm.
And then item number 5 was also fruity, kind of like a snack and a grape flavor, and that was
Jelly.
So tell us again, which 2 did you pick that would make the best pairing?
Well, I think I was pretty spot on. Item number 2, peanut butter, and item number 5, jelly. That would be the best pair. Now I just need 2 slices of bread to make a sandwich.
Hello everyone, my name is Jason Levy and I'm the music teacher from Campus International School. I'm your conductor and today we're going to go on a journey all the way over to England. We're going to ride the tube and I'm going to teach you a song all about what to do on the train in case of an emergency. So hope you have your ticket and all aboard, so let's head out. Now, boys and girls, before we get on the train, the Royal Association of Railroad Conductors would like to give you a few tips of what to do just in case there's an emergency. Listen the first time. To stop the train in cases of emergency, just pull down the chain, pull down the chain. Penalty for improper use, £5. So I'm going to sing once and then you're going to echo after me. To stop the train in cases of emergency, just pull down the chain, pull down the chain. Penalty for improper use, £5. Very, very good. We'll try that one more time. So I'll sing it first and you echo after me. To stop the train in cases of emergency. To stop the train in cases of emergency. Just pull down the chain. Pull down the chain. Pull down the chain. Pull down the chain. Penalty for improper use, £5. Excellent. So now try that whole thing with me. To stop the train in cases of emergency, just pull down the chain, pull down the chain. Penalty for improper use, £5. Very good. Now we're going to do the song one more time, and I've invited one of my friends, Miss D'Onofrio, to help us out. Miss D'Onofrio, are you ready? To stop the train in cases of emergency, just pull down the chain, pull down the chain. Penalty for improper use, £5. To stop the train in cases of emergency, just pull down the chain, pull down the chain. Penalty for improper use, £5. Wow, that was really tricky. You did an excellent job staying with me. Now this time we're going to make it even a little bit harder. Instead of only having 2 people in our canon, we're going to have 4 people in our canon. So feel free to sing with me, or you can sing with Miss D'Onofrio. Your pick. You all ready up there? How about you? Miss D'Onofrio, are you okay? Let's do it. To stop the train in cases of emergency, just pull down the train, pull down the chain. Penalty for improper use, £5. To stop the train in cases of emergency, just pull down the train. In cases of emergency, just pull down the chain, pull down the chain. Penalty for improper use, £5. Excellent job. Well, everyone, I hope you enjoyed our trip over to England. And I think we all now know what to do in case there's an emergency on a train. So until next time, I'm Jason Levy from Campus International School, and I'll see you next week. Bye.
Hi everyone, I'm Sue Whitley. I'm an occupational therapist with the Cleveland Metropolitan School District. And today I'm inviting you to make your very own home version of the ever exciting and suspenseful game, Don't Break the Ice. This game originally came out in 1968. Hope you can kind of see that. It was a blue plastic tray and it had white ice cubes, plastic ice cubes, and 2 to 4 people took turns with the little plastic hammers knocking out an ice cube one at a time. And the object was to not be the person who, when you knocked out your ice cube, caused the guy in the middle to go down below because you lost. So this version that we're going to make, I found on a webpage called mercmom.com. Truly brilliant reinvention of this game, and kudos to whoever came up with it. Here's what you're going to need. Before we begin anything we do at home, we are going to ask the adult in the house if we can have permission to have the things that we're going to do. And I want you to invite that adult to join you, because chances are your adult, your big person, probably played this when they were your age too. First thing you need is a cup. This is a styrofoam cup. In the game that came out in the stores, only 2 to 4 people could play. But with this version, you can have 2 people, you can have 12 people. However many people you have, each person gets 1 cup. We want to make sure that the cups have the same or very similar circumference, the distance around the circle, and diameter, the distance across the circle. You can't get away from math. It is everywhere, right? Your math teachers are like, yay! They need to be similar to be fair for the game. If this one was really big and mine was small, or even a smaller cup, it wouldn't be fair. You are going to need a Kleenex, or a piece of toilet paper, or a paper towel. It doesn't matter which paper product you use, as long as everybody has the same one. I imagine using a paper towel, the game might take longer because the paper towel is sturdier than Kleenex and toilet paper. You are going to need, where did I put it? A rubber band. You are going to need toothpick. You are going to need small objects. On Mercmom, the version they made, they used dice. And that's a great idea, but I don't have that many dice lying around the house for just me to play, let alone me and 2 to 12 or 20 people. So I went out and I found small rocks. You're going to want 3 to 4 small objects. Rocks are out there, they're free, so head on outside when it's not raining and find you some. We want them to be similar in size and weight, okay? And for everybody to have the game be fair. And you are going to need either 1 die to roll, or a game spinner, or a game popper. I don't have any of those here at the house, so I came up with the plan D, always another way to do things. I took a piece of paper and I wrote the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and I cut them so each number had its own little piece of paper, folded them up, and I put them in a cup. You'll see why in a second. So let's make this game, shall we? So you're going to take, I'm going to use a tissue, Kleenex, and I'm going to hold the cup up so you can see. We're going to put it on top of the cup, like so. We want it to be smooth on the top surface and flat. If it's wrinkled a little bit, that's okay, but we don't want it dipping down like that. We want it smooth and flat. All right, then you are going to take your rubber band. If you don't have rubber bands, perhaps you could use tape. I tried it with masking tape, Scotch tape, duct tape. Any of those things would probably work to hold the tissue onto the cup. You could maybe tie it on. Probably not as effective, but still it is an option if you don't have plan A and plan B. All right, so we have that on there. And next thing we're going to do is we're going to take our cup that has the tissue nicely smooth on it, and we're going to take our small objects, like I said, pebbles, earrings maybe, or bottle caps, lids could go. The thing is, everyone has to have similar size and weight objects. And we are going to place them on top of the tissue. The tissue is like the ice in the original game, and the objects are like the plastic figure guy that sat in the middle of the ice. Next, you need to take the dice, or the spinner, or the popper, or in my case, the numbers. You're gonna reach in, no peeking, and pull out a number. I pulled out the number 3. Put it back into the cup. Then I'm going to take the toothpick. Word of caution, toothpicks are sharp and pointy, and if I dropped it and left it on the floor and someone stepped on it with their bare feet, ouch! Or if I was playing with it with my siblings, my brother, my sister, my friend, I could really hurt them. So please be kind to each other and be careful and throw it away when we're done, okay? So I picked the number 3, right? So I'm gonna take the toothpick and I'm going to poke the tissue 3 times. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Ta-da. My turn is done. My rocks stayed on top of the ice. Then I would pass the cup to the next person. It would be their turn. And you would go around until it came back to you. I'd reach back into the cup, pull out a number 1. And I would poke. Again, 1 poke. Still on top of that rock. We would keep going until one person, now this is not how you would play, but I'm doing this to fast forward. When you poke, you can poke anywhere on your ice. It doesn't have to be by the rocks, it could be on the edges. It just has to be, they fell in. My turn is over and I've lost. So that's how we play Don't Break the Ice, home version. I hope you can find someone to play with. I hope you have the things to try to make it. And I hope you can do this and have fun. All right? Stay well, stay healthy. Until next time, take care.
This is the carbon snake demonstration. And it's one of the first science demonstrations I ever saw that really made me wonder and think about what was happening. What I observed happening seemed so strange and crazy, I couldn't imagine what kinds of science were behind it. It almost seemed like magic. You might have felt the same way when you first made slime. When you first put in the activator and it goes from being glue to being a gross slime substance, it does seem really crazy. And I'm sure you wondered, why did this happen? How could it happen? How else could I make this happen? What other things could I mix in here to make different reactions or similar reactions or better reactions? So today I'll be showing you different demonstrations that you can do at home, but that you can also change up to experiment a little with. You've probably seen this experiment before, Coke and Mentos. You may have even done it at school. All you need is a 2-liter bottle of soda and some Mentos candies, and you get reactions like you see. I wondered why it happened. I always thought maybe it was a chemical in the Mentos that reacted so strongly. But it turns out that Mentos are actually covered in tiny little holes that form bubbles when they're dumped into the soda. You could easily make this demonstration your own by testing different kinds of sodas or the number of Mentos. What would make the reaction stronger? This is one of my favorite demonstrations to do, and it's super easy and super fun. And all you need is water, oil, food coloring, and an Alka-Seltzer tablet. The first thing you do is to fill a water bottle about half and half with oil and water. You can try out different amounts if you only have certain amounts of different things. It'll all have basically the same reaction. When you fill the bottle with the oil, you'll notice that the oil and the water stay completely separate. And this is because they have different densities, so they're unable to mix. And that's what makes this demonstration work and look so cool. It's a good idea to see the full effect to take off the wrapper on the water bottle. And you might want to do this outside because when you're working with oil, it can get pretty messy if you spill. Once you have the wrapper off, you're ready to pick the color of food coloring you want. Any color works, and you can put as many drops as you want in. I wouldn't use the whole bottle, but putting a bunch of drops in works pretty good. You'll notice that when the food coloring drops go in, they also do not mix in the oil. So they look pretty cool when they first go in. At this point, the food coloring has finally reached the bottom of the oil and is starting to mix with the water. This is pretty fun to watch as well. And once it's all in the bottom, you can go ahead and tilt the bottle back and forth and see how cool it looks when the oil and the water stay separate, especially with the food coloring in it. Now what you'll need is the Alka-Seltzer tablet, and this tablet, when it hits the water, will make a lot of bubbles. Once the Alka-Seltzer is in and hits the water, you'll see the reaction start immediately, and it looks like you have your own lava lamp. I think the first time I saw this demonstration was on Bill Nye, and this works easily with baking soda, a water bottle, a balloon, and some vinegar. So really easy to do, and we used 2 different kinds of balloons and 2 different sizes of bottles just to see what would happen and see if we could blow up a balloon. First thing you want to do is put your baking soda into a separate water bottle. And this is to get the baking soda into your balloon. The next part can be kind of tricky, especially depending on the kind of the balloon you're using. This balloon right here is one of those punching bag balloons. So if you can't get it onto the water bottle, ask an adult to help you. Once the balloon is on the bottle, you're gonna go ahead and turn it upside down and shake it to get all the baking soda inside the balloon. This is so that you can activate the baking soda and vinegar reaction while the balloon is on the bottle. Otherwise, all the gas would escape. Once that part's finished, you can go ahead and stick it on your bottle that you've filled with vinegar. Now we're using a 2-liter bottle for this one because we wanted to see if it would inflate the punch bag balloon to the point where it would explode. Unfortunately, it didn't end up happening, but it did get pretty huge. You can vary the amounts of baking soda and vinegar to test different reactions. Does more vinegar make a bigger balloon? Does less vinegar? More baking soda? Less baking soda? These are things you can easily test out at home. Remember when testing things out that you only want to change one thing or one variable at a time. So if you want to see if more baking soda makes a stronger reaction, don't also add more vinegar. Do one thing at a time. Once everything's ready, you can get the balloon on top and shake the vinegar inside of it. You want to keep a good grip on the bottle and the balloon because it can knock over pretty fast from the vinegar shooting up into the balloon and making it heavy. The reaction will happen pretty fast, so keep a hold of it and be very careful. Make sure you're wearing safety glasses in case you do get yours to explode. What you're seeing happen is the baking soda and vinegar releasing a gas. That gas is what's blowing up the balloon instead of your own breath. We also tried this with a smaller balloon. It got pretty large as well. This messy stuff is oobleck. Oobleck is a non-Newtonian fluid, which means that it doesn't react the same way a normal liquid does. So when you don't apply any pressure, it behaves mostly like a liquid. It's drippy and liquidy. But as soon as you apply any kind of pressure to it, it immediately becomes much harder. Definitely make it outside. All it takes is 2 cups of cornstarch and 1 cup of water.
Today, we will take a hike, learn a few poetry elements, use adjectives, and write a haiku. What is a poem? Have you ever wondered what a poem actually is? Is a Taylor Swift song a poem? Is your favorite rap a poem? Yes! A poem is a type of writing that uses lines, rhythm, figurative language, and other elements to communicate emotions and ideas. Poetry doesn't have to rhyme and doesn't have to be punctuated like sentences and paragraphs in other kinds of writing. Poetry requires creativity and the use of figurative language. Remember similes and metaphors? Adjectives can help us when we're writing poetry. Adjectives are describing words. Examples include smelly, green, wonderful, tired. Adjectives are a good choice in poems because they help to get your feelings across to your reader. Today's poem is a haiku. A haiku is a Japanese form of poetry. It has 5 syllables in the first line, 7 syllables in the second line, and 5 syllables in the last line. A lot of times haikus are about nature. In today's poem, the haiku, here's an example. In the first line, it has 5 syllables. 5 lovely geese fly. The second line has 7 syllables. Across the lake and green grass. And then again, 5 syllables at the end. Where are they going? Got it.
Got 1 second.
If you
I'll cut it out. Keep going.
If you're having trouble understanding how to put the right amount of syllables, think back to when we sound out words and we clap the number of syllables. You can do that for each number. 5 for the first line, 7 for the second line, and 5 for the last line. As we go on our virtual hike, use what you see to inspire your writing.
Let's go back to that little place where we used to go in the summer days. We dip our feet at the water's edge, and everyone would come along to meet us there. We'll have a competition to see who can trap for longer, 'cause every year my body's getting stronger. We can swim all day and dance into the night, but we're not coming home till the moonlight shines, till the moon